Welcome back to Bipolar Talks, the place where we mindfully explore what it means to live with bipolar disorder. This is a space for honesty, empathy, and growth. Whether you're navigating this condition yourself, supporting someone who is, or just curious to learn more, we're so glad you're here. Before we begin, take a deep breath with me. Feel your feet on the ground, your breath in your chest. Let's be fully present for the next little while. And if this podcast brings you value, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Your engagement helps others find this content, and it keeps this channel alive and growing. Today's episode is a raw one. It's called, When Mania Took Over My Mind. This is not just a breakdown of symptoms or a clinical summary. This is a personal narrative, woven from lived experience. It's what it felt like step by step when mania took the wheel. When my thoughts weren't mine anymore. When the world bent around my mind instead of the other way around. If you've ever been through mania, some of this might sound all too familiar. And if you haven't, my hope is that this episode brings you into our world with compassion. So let's begin. Part 1: The spark that felt like light. It began with brightness. Not in a metaphorical way, although that too, but in an almost visual way. The colors around me looked more saturated. Music sounded richer. My senses were sharper. And for the first time in a long time, I felt motivated. And here's the dangerous part. Mania doesn't always feel like a crisis at the start. Sometimes it feels like recovery. It can masquerade as healing. I thought maybe I'm finally getting better. I started writing again. Ideas were pouring out of me, poems, business plans, full-on scripts. I'd send long, detailed texts to friends in the middle of the night, not realizing how overwhelming or incoherent they might seem. I signed up for online courses, invested in gear for a project I hadn't fully thought through, and posted rapid-fire social media updates with confident declarations about changing my life. And I wasn't sleeping. I told myself I didn't need it, that I was fueled by purpose. But the truth? I was unraveling with a smile on my face. Can you relate? Part 2: The ego rush and the grand plans. The thing about mania is that it doesn't just make you feel energetic. It distorts your perception of reality. I wasn't just productive, I was brilliant. I wasn't just creative, I was chosen. I genuinely believed at one point that I had been selected by the universe to deliver some important message to the world. I started giving impromptu speeches in public spaces. I interrupted conversations with epiphanies. I thought I had discovered secret meanings in books, shows, license plates. One day, I spent my entire savings on equipment for a startup idea I came up with overnight. I was convinced it would become the next global innovation. I didn't stop to ask, is this realistic? Is this sustainable? Mania doesn't care about sustainability. Cares about speed. Friends expressed concern. Some gently, some not so gently. But I couldn't hear them. I thought they just didn't understand. I was annoyed, offended even. How could they not see how brilliant this was? That inflated sense of self is not just ego. It's a chemical hurricane in the brain. It's the dopamine, the serotonin, the circuitry shorting out and screaming go, go, go while your reality collapses quietly in the background. Part 3: The crash that came like a whisper. I wish I could tell you that I saw it coming. That I recognized the signs before it all imploded. But the crash wasn't dramatic at first. It was subtle. A slow leak. First I felt tired but couldn't sleep. Then the ideas stopped making sense. Then came the confusion. The fear. The realization that I had no idea what day it was, or what I had done over the past week. I looked around my apartment and saw the aftermath. Notes everywhere. Unopened packages. Strange items ordered online. Half-started projects. And my phone, filled with voicemails and unread messages. Some concerned. Some angry. Some I couldn't even remember sending. The grandiosity dissolved, and shame came rushing in to fill the void. I wasn't a visionary. I was unstable. I wasn't leading a revolution. I was having an episode. That's when the tears started. That's when the anxiety and depression crept in like fog. That's when the reality check became a sledgehammer. Part 4: Picking up the pieces. Recovery didn't come in a moment. It came in hours, days, and months of sorting through the damage. I apologized to people I hurt, some accepted it, some didn't. I reevaluated my finances. I worked with a psychiatrist to stabilize my meds. I spent time in therapy unpacking what happened, how it happened, and why I didn't see it sooner. And the hardest part? Forgiving myself. You see, mania doesn't just affect how you think. It changes who you are for a while. It hijacks your sense of self. And when you come back to baseline, you're often left with the haunting echoes of things you said, did, or believed in the height of it all. The goal is not to erase those moments. The goal is to understand them, to make peace with them, to learn from them. That's what I'm still doing day by day. Part 5. What I wish people knew about mania. If you've never experienced mania, here's what I want you to know. It's not just being in a good mood. It's not just feeling hyper or having lots of energy. It's an altered state of consciousness that can derail your life before you even notice it. It can feel euphoric and terrifying. It can be productive and destructive. It's seductive in the beginning and devastating by the end. People with bipolar disorder are not crazy. We are not dangerous. We are not irresponsible. We are living with a complex brain condition that requires care, understanding, and support. And we are capable of stability, of recovery, of living full, meaningful lives. But we can't do it alone. Part 6. If you're going through it now, if you're in the middle of a manic episode, or you feel one building, please hear this. You are not broken, but you are vulnerable right now. And that vulnerability deserves compassion, not shame. Reach out. Even if you don't feel like you need help, reach out. Call your doctor. Talk to someone you trust. Slow down. Ground yourself. Monitor your sleep. Keep a journal. Let someone else hold the perspective for you until you can get it back yourself. You're not weak for needing help. You're wise for knowing you do. And if you've already come out the other side, if you're in the aftermath cleaning up the chaos, take your time. Be gentle. Learn what you can. And remember, healing is never linear. We've covered a lot today. If this episode resonated with you, or if you think it could help someone else, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Your support helps this channel grow and helps others feel less alone. This has been Bipolar Talks. Thank you for listening mindfully, openly, and with heart. And remember, this YouTube video is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional diagnosis or treatment. If you or someone you know is struggling, please consult with a licensed expert or mental health provider. Until next time, be kind to your mind.